Hi, Marcus again, the Angry Disabled Man. I was going to do something different and I was going to try and be very upbeat because this week so far has been quite a good one. I was at an AGM for the Gated Access panel yesterday and I've been voted as a trustee of the charity. I'm very happy about that. Glad I can get involved and help other people. What it has done, and what I need to do now, is actually tell everyone who's watching, so that's all nine here, I am not advocating or saying any of this on behalf of the Access panel. This is my personal feelings, my personal experience, and has little or nothing to do with the Access panel and the work they do. We need to be very clear about that. This is not endorsed, backed, encouraged, or in any way connected to the Gated Access panel. This is just me getting things off my chest. So, it was going to be very, and I've just looked away. I know I said in the other video I wasn't going to do that, but bear with. I was going to be very upbeat and very positive for a change. And I was going to talk about my writing. I mean, around the screen here, you've probably noticed I've got a book jacket. That's my writing. I've got the links that are appearing up above and down below, and that's all for me and my writing. And I was going to talk about that, but I received a letter. Now, it's from Gateshead Council. What happened is I've decided that I want to move away from the care company that I've got, and I want to move towards a personal budget, which means I would be basically an employer. I would interview and choose who was going to be in caring for me, and I'd have a bit more control over times, and you know exactly what happened. Um, when I said I wanted to do that, I was immediately asked why. Not because I'm not allowed to, not because I'm breaking any rules, but because they want to know why the care provider they have given the contract to isn't meeting my needs. All well and good. Now, I raised four concerns. One of them I've agreed to drop because I've got no proof one way or the other. They've got shed loads of evidence, whatever. But it's a minor thing, and it could have just been an oversight. And if it was, fair enough. These things happen. I'm quite willing to accept it was an accident. Um, One thing I'm not going to do though is name the company that's providing the care for us because I really don't want to end up in court. Um, so the first concern I raised, and I'm going to read from the letter. Um, I'm not going to show you because someone will pause it and be able to tell who it is. Care workers are not receiving travelling time between visits, meaning they are arriving late or cutting visits short. Now, this is very obviously happening. The official line is that the rounds and the calls are only between zero point 0.1 and zero point 0.2 miles apart, which means travelling time isn't an issue. All well and good, except they're not. I've been asking about the rotas of a carer that visited at lunchtime today, and our calls basically are anything up to 2 miles apart. So you can't get from point A to point B in no time at all if they're 2 miles apart. So they're saying that I'm getting my full allotted time and travelling time isn't an issue. But they then go on to say, and again I'm reading from this, um, the intervention notes now basically whenever the carers come in, they write down exactly what they've done, when they got here, when they left, and it's four instances like this. Now, the intervention sheets are saying that on average, care staff are staying for approximately 20 minutes. So, therefore, my argument that the calls are getting cut short is invalid. Except, of course, my calls are meant to be 30 minutes long. So, what they have said, trying to prove that they're not actually doing this, is that they're only supplying 2/3 of the time. So, they have really argued my point for me. So thank you very much, unnameable health company that I won't actually think in. Now, I had an issue a few weeks ago where a carer came in the morning. They have a key to let themselves in, which at first I was very unhappy about, but as I've had a couple of quite nasty falls, brilliant that they can get in and pick us up, fantastic. I'm not going to argue with that. But I was in bed, I was still asleep. I'd had my injection, which I take 3 times a week, um, which I do get some pretty nasty side effects from. And it usually means I need to sit in bed, lie in bed, and the carer came in and screamed wakey wakey through the door. I'm only living in a little place, so you might as well be screaming in my ear. Now, they have said all staff undertake specialist training in regards to multiple sclerosis. Fair enough. So I asked the carer that came in today what was on it. I was thinking, well, maybe it's the content of the course needs looked at. Um, And of course, she said, I've never been in that training. She's been trained with regards to Alzheimer's. She's been trained in first aid. You know, multiple sclerosis? No. So I've asked the council, the commissioning officer, I've asked for them to provide documentary proof. Let's see if they can. My last gripe was that duty managers aren't to be duty managers. They're meant to be on call to cover problems. They are also rotated in. Now, again, the care company have said that when they're on call, they are not rotated in, which is a blatant lie. It really is, because many times, I'm just looking at this here, many times they've been in doing calls for me, and they've been having to answer the phone for everybody else, and of course they can't do both. So I've raised the issues. I've got back in touch with the commissioning officer for Gateshead. We'll see where it goes. But all of my points, which they've said no, that doesn't happen, I want to see documentary proof. I want to see rotas that are blank for duty managers, and then I want them to prove it by all these intervention sheets that a duty manager was never there. I want them to prove about the travelling time, how it's not required. I want them to prove everything, because basically they're calling me a liar. And I can back this up. Let's see them back this up.